Welcome to Widowcast Podcast, where you'll find the strength to get through your journey and the skills to coach other widows to do the same. This is not a grief group. This is your journey, and it just may show you the way to make something amazing come out of the emotional pain and trauma of your loss. I'm your host, Joanne Filomena. I'm the best-selling author of the book Widowed and of The Widow Coach. I'm also a professionally certified life coach. Let the healing and the personal journey back to who you are begin. Welcome to episode 87. This is class number 12, and it's the last class that I teach to my certified widow coaches, and it's my favorite class, and you'll soon know why. But first, I wanted to make sure that all of you know to subscribe to this podcast so that as each episode posts, it'll just automatically show up on your phone or your tablet, wherever you're subscribed from. You can, if you have an Apple device, or even if you have an Android device, if you use iTunes, you will find Widowcast in iTunes. If you search Widowcast and just click on the subscribe button. On an Android phone, you can look for Google Music Play. Widowcast can be found in there. It's also on the Stitcher app if you like to listen to podcasts using Stitcher. So go subscribe. Hey, you know what? You can also ask your Alexa to play it. Sorry, I don't know that. My Alexa is answering me. You can have Alexa play it if you use, I think TuneIn is the default podcast player. And if you clearly ask her, Alexa, ask TuneIn to play Widowcast, it'll open up and play the latest episode of this podcast so you can listen to it. Anyway, that's all the ways you can find me and subscribe and automatically get these. I would love it. So go subscribe. Anyway, this last lesson that I like to teach, I love to teach, is on unconditional love. And this is more than loving yourself, right? A lot of people are into, how to love yourself, and that's all very advised, right? We work a lot on self-worth and confidence, all that great stuff, learning to love ourselves. But this is more about choosing to love others, no matter who they are, no matter what your current relationship is. And this really came to mind today because lately I've been seeing lots of posts from widows talking about issues with family members. And it really hits home because I had a friend recently talking about her mother-in-law who is recently widowed. And, there's so many conflicts going on, it seems, between the kids and her. So here's the deal. We all have painful relationships, right? That may need healing, relationships with family, relationships with coworkers, with neighbors, they're all included. And it may be difficult for you to think about being able to choose to just love these people no matter what. You may have had it with them, you have broken ties with them. But here's the deal. When you are angry with someone, when you are not loving someone, when you are frustrated with them or you're disappointed with them, those are all emotions that they don't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good to hate on somebody. And what happens when you choose to hate on someone, okay, you are the one feeling the hate, not them. You can't make other people feel anything. Now, I know that's like a big new concept, but it's what I've been talking about all along with these classes. The fact that our feelings come from what we're thinking. They don't come from anything else outside of us. And by the same token, other people in your life, you can't make them feel one way or the other. It's always going to be about what they're thinking that's going to create their emotions. So, if you are resentful to someone, that resentment is something you are experiencing. It's not going to jump from your mind and your body into them. You're not getting them back by resenting them or hating on them. You're not punishing them in any way. You're punishing yourself. I know, it's mind-blowing. But listen, it's true. I've discovered this is so true. You can't put those feelings in someone else. When you choose to feel those feelings, like disappointment or anger or resentment or frustration, you are experiencing that uncomfortable emotion. You can choose differently. And if I gave you a tray with all the optional emotions listed on it, you could have any emotion you want instead. Some of you tell me what you want is to just feel neutral. And I'm like, really? You could experience any feeling on the planet right now about this person. And you're just going to choose neutral? I mean, sometimes neutral's a good place to start. If you think you can't get off the anger and that maybe you could go from anger to neutral, that's a good start. You could work towards that. But here's what I want to offer you. On this tray of all these amazing emotions you could choose from is the emotion of love. And in my opinion, I think probably in a lot of people's opinions, love feels best. Think about it. Think about new love. Think about when you fell in love with your husband initially. That thrill of new love and how amazing it felt to be in love with someone. What an amazing emotion. What if you could feel that anytime you wanted to? You can. It all depends on what you are telling yourself in the moment that can create that feeling. And it's something worth practicing, because if you get to choose your emotions, why not choose something that feels amazing? The experience of feeling love even releases like great endorphins in your brain and dopamine and all those feel-good chemicals like flood your body. So healing. So here's the thing. And I know it sounds crazy, because when you feel like somebody is hurting your feelings, and remember, that's emotional childhood, thinking something outside of you is hurting your feelings, when the truth is, it's the story you tell yourself about that thing outside of you, that person outside of you that hurts your feelings. But when you are really feeling that you have hurt feelings, it's very hard to think you could actually love that person instead. You may think you have no choice in the matter. You have no control over how you're feeling about that other person. But I'm telling you, you do have a choice. It is all choice. So you can think about somebody that you are struggling with right now, and you can ask yourself, how do you want to feel about this person? How do you want to feel right now? Like maybe neutral is a good step up, and you can work towards neutral. You can start working your way up the ladder of emotions. But I'm telling you, you can also decide you have the option to unconditionally love that person, regardless of what they do or don't do. So what is stopping you from unconditionally loving for your own sake? Right? For your own sake. Love is an emotion you can choose for yourself. You can choose it. I've been practicing this for a while. Okay. And, there's still some people who are kind of hard to love on. I will confess. But I know I have the choice. I know I have the choice. And, that I choose to love people. No matter how they feel about me, I just think to myself, you know what? I can just love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I just get to choose to love you. I can be in love with you, no matter who you are. What if you could fall in love every single day, over and over again? Just whoever you meet, choose to just fall in love with them. Love everything about them. You can walk away and say, I just love her. Just love her. I love her company. Such a thrill to just spend time with that person. I just love her. Yeah. It feels amazing, right? It feels amazing. I tell my class sometimes about, I was in the grocery store. This was a little while back. And, it was such a holdup. The woman in front of me in line was, really struggling, fumbling, this, that. I don't even know what the holdup was. It was like some big deal. They had to call a manager over and you know how it is. You start getting more and more annoyed because you're like, I've got 5 things here that I just want to buy. I just want to check out and go home. And I, in that moment, thought about it and thought, no, I can choose to feel differently. I don't have to stand here and start fuming. Don't want to feel that frustration bubbling up inside of me. I would rather feel something even better. So first I worked on a little compassion for this woman. Like, it's so embarrassing if you're trying to make your purchase and, all of a sudden your credit card's not working, or they say, no, to buy this, you have to, I have to call a manager over because I'm not old enough to sell you a bottle of wine or whatever. That stuff is always uncomfortable. So I began to feel a little compassion for her. And then I looked at the checker, who was a young guy and just a cutie pie. And he was brand new. I mean, I'm in the grocery store all the time. I'm one of those people. I don't shop for a whole week's worth of food at once. I like to go back to the store and get things fresh. So I look, and this is clearly a new checker, and he's struggling as well because this is all new to him. He's like, what am I supposed to do here? What's the protocol for this? And I thought, oh God, what a way to start your new job, is dealing with something like this, and it's probably really embarrassing and uncomfortable for him. When finally they got things taken care of and he was going to start checking my few measly items, I can't remember what I said to him, but I made some flippant comment that just to make him smile. Right. And he did, and we both laughed, and then we chatted for a few minutes while he rang up my things, and I just fell in love with this young cashier. I was like, he is such a cutie. I just want to take him home, stand him in a corner of my living room so I can just enjoy loving on this young man. And not in a sexual way. Don't go there. Come on. This is not cougar stuff. This is more like mom love. This is like, this kid is trying so hard to get a handle on this situation with this customer and move on. And I really felt for him, and I totally fell in love with him. Now, I didn't tell him this because that would be creepy, right? If I was checking out in the grocery store and I told this young man, you know what, I just love you and I get to love you. You have no choice in the matter. There's just no. There's a little Silence of the Lambs music going on in the background. But I could think it. I could choose to feel that way, right? And this was not some long drawn out thing. This was just in the few minutes to check like 5 items. But I want to tell you, when I left the grocery store, I was no longer feeling frustrated at all. I was feeling kind of elated. I was like happy. I got in my car. I drove home. I didn't complain about traffic. It was a totally different mood than I would have drove home in if I had continued to fume and be aggravated about the holdup at the checkout. If you are aggravated about the holdup at the checkout, you just want to get your groceries, you just want to grab your bags, just let me get to my car for God's sakes. And then if, God forbid, somebody cuts you off in traffic, you're just ready to shoot daggers out your eyes at them. What kind of mood is that to be driving home with your groceries? Seriously, when you could drive home just feeling elated. And I was, and I put on the radio, and I sang with the radio, and I got home with my groceries, and I had a wonderful, delightful evening. And I even chuckled to myself because I recognized that I had accomplished being able to feel unconditional love for the cashier at the grocery store. Right? Sounds crazy. It's not crazy. It's one of the best gifts you can give yourself. The ability to feel love no matter what is an option we all have available to us. We do. So if there is someone in your life that you are really feeling even estranged from, like you've cut ties with, and every time you even think of this person, it just makes you fume. Think about that. Think of someone who is really challenging for you to love. Right now, think about them. Write their name down. And now write down the reasons why you find them hard to love. Go ahead and pause the podcast. Write down a few reasons. Why are you finding it hard to love this person? All right, now come back to the podcast. Welcome back. Now I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts about this person that prevent you from loving them more? I want you to think about that, and I want you to take a minute and write that down too. What are your thoughts about the person that prevent you from loving them more? And what conditions have you put on loving them? Write that down too. Stop the podcast, go write it down. And by conditions, I mean like you would love them more if they would accept you as family, or if they would, if they could just, could they do that would make you love them more? What conditions? And lastly, I want you to think about, what does it feel like when you've chosen not to love them? How is that feeling for you? Does it make you feel isolated? Does it make you just feel angry all the time? How are you choosing to feel about this? Be honest with yourself. This is no time to hedge what you're writing down. Otherwise, you're just lying to yourself. And I know as women, we lie to ourselves a lot. That's what we do. Don't lie to yourself. Be really honest about this. And ask yourself, what would it be like to love them without condition? Right? How would that serve you to be able to love them? Is there ever a time that love is not a good choice? So give this gift to yourself. Allow yourself, train yourself to start feeling unconditional love. Just take a moment to think about how good love feels. Try to see if you can create that feeling inside yourself right now. How good it feels to love someone. You could love on me. I could take it. You could say right now, I love this podcast so much. And how does that love feel? See how it feels. And then understand that you can decide to feel that. You could feel that for your worst enemy. Is that incredible? So get out there and love on somebody today. Give yourself that gift and find some joy in your life through feeling love. And know that I love every one of you, and you have no choice about it because I get to choose to love you. Go have a great day. Bye.